That's just a terrible take, personally.
We got shellacked.
How's it going, everyone? And welcome to this week's edition of the Starting Lineup. My name is Jacob Aries, and I'm here with Alex Kastner and Trevor Shaughnessy. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. I have a question for you guys. What is your favorite Winter Olympic sport?
For me, I gotta say curling, man. I just love how they brush the floor, and it's just I don't get how it works, but they do it so well, and it's so entertaining to watch, in my opinion.
It's very high stakes. They're pushing that broom very quickly. They're shouting for...
They're screaming for it, but that's what I love, They're fierce competitors,
Okay, I love to hear it. Thank you for breaking it down. What about you? What's your favorite Winter Olympic sport?
I think one of the most unique Winter Olympic sports is biathlon, Jacob. Going all the way cross country on skis and then having to pull that rifle off your back, hit a target, and get right back to it. I just think there's nothing else quite like it.
Yeah, it's like the definition of locking in. They got to bring down their heart rate. It's a balance of speed and accuracy. I'm looking forward to that one, especially because we've never medaled in that event. Well, the reason why I bring that up is because we are going to be talking about the Winter Olympics coming up later on, so I wanted to get this conversation going. But right now we're going to jump into Arizona Roundtable, where we're going to break down the highs and lows of everything that is Arizona sports. So back in October, we actually had a showcase for women's softball. Last season in 2025, we were actually ranked 18th. That's how we finished. We had a really good record, around 48 wins. Now, this upcoming season, we are projected to be in the mix with all these other big schools in terms of how we're going to compete. A lot of SEC schools, Big 12 schools as well. And we are actually ranked around there too, 17th to 18th position. Like I said, back in October, they had this red and blue showcase where they got to show fans, family, just anyone, members of the community about what they can expect this upcoming season. We had student reporter Locke Kerfman go to the event and break it down for us.
U of A softball is back at Hillebrand Stadium for the red and blue showcase.
On October 10th, University of Arizona softball team began their season in front of a home crowd with a scrimmage against themselves. This was also during Parents Weekend, where Tucson had a lot of rainy weather with Hurricane Priscilla approaching. Last year, they were the second best team in the Big 12 with a record of 17-7 in conference play. They were also top 15 in the country, and they made it all the way to Super Rangers, where they got swept by Oklahoma State. This year, they're looking to make it all the way to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma. After their star player, Dakota Kennedy, transferred to Arkansas and Devin Nets got drafted to the Athletes Unlimited League, they're looking to Sidney Stewart, a power-hitting catcher who hit 20 home runs last year. We then asked a fan named Cody Brown what his expectations of the seasons were. Here's what he thought.
I'm looking forward to the best hitting team in the country, the best offense in the country.
The red team ended up defeating the blue team in the scrimmage 6-4. Then we asked staff member Ella Stannerstone at the Arizona team store, do you think it's important to have a team store at the game? Here is her response.
I think it definitely does help because we're here as part of the campus store, which is a big part of the U of A. We sell merchandise with our logo, and I think it helps bring people's spirit up, especially when they see their favorite sports on t-shirts, and it just kind of builds up their spirit, and it gets them really hyped up and excited for the game.
We also asked Ella Stannerstone what her favorite merch was here at the Arizona team store. Here is what she said.
I gotta go with our pom-poms. Our pom-poms are really cute. It helps like spread cheer, and everyone loves it. The little kids love it. It's a great item. I can't lie.
On 3 has Arizona softball ranked 22 in their way too early preseason predictions. U of A softball's first Big 12 matchup is March 5th, 2026 versus BYU at home in Hillebrand Stadium. That is all I have for you folks. This is Locke Kerfman from UATV3.
Yeah, like you said, Jacob, I mean, it was a rough end last season, but they finished 18th overall. This year, they're ranked 17th in the preseason poll and 3rd in the Big 12 preseason poll, only tied with ASU at 77. I mean, 2 preseason Big 12 players with our catcher Sydney Stewart and Reagan Shockey in center field. We're supposed to make the NCAA tournament, but like we made it last year, but we didn't really make it that far. We didn't even make it out the group stage. Trevor, what are your thoughts? What do you think? How far do you think we'll make it this year?
Yeah, I think U of A softball had a lot of potential last year. I think they have, once again, a lot of potential this year. It was a bit disappointing how last season ended, and I think that's something that really this team needs to look at as a whole is, don't get too much in your head about what you're ranked during the season. They were number 2, but at the end of the day, when they started going into the tournament for the Big 12 and losing in the championship round, I think that may have rattled them a little bit, and they took that energy into the group stage, and it didn't get any better. I think this year they need to just focus on taking it one game at a time and not letting the spotlight shine too brightly on them.
Yeah, I agree. They lost a lot of key players. Devin Netz, who won one of the Golden Glove Awards, I'm pretty sure it was during the tournament. She's now with the Athletes United Softball League, drafted by the Blaze. We lost Dakota Kennedy as she signed to Arkansas, and we lost Kaya Altmaier as she signed to Texas. We also lost Miranda Stoddard, who was a pitcher with a 15-0 record. She graduated, unfortunately. But hopefully this year they can pull it together and make it out the first round.
I definitely agree with a lot that has been said with you guys. It's definitely going to be felt that we're going to miss Devin Netz, best player on last season's team, going professional. But Sydney Stewart, she's one of our 3 players that is actually ranked top in the nation. She's our catcher, and she's a powerful hitter. I've actually seen her hit at that Red and Blue Showcase, and the power that she brings when she's at that plate, it's phenomenal. I'm going to expect a lot of more home runs out of her. And this is a community that loves its softball. Stands were packed, and let me mention, this is one of our sports on campus that you can actually go for free, and our stadium's right here on campus. So I see, like you guys mentioned, great success coming up. If we can do well in the Big 12 in the tournament and then hopefully move on into a postseason run that was deeper than last year, I think we got a great chance. We got a great school atmosphere that can get behind this team. Sky's the limit.
For sure, for sure. One last thing to add off, they start their season against Southern Utah, doubleheader, and then they go on to take on number 3 Oklahoma. That'll be a very challenging match. As you kind of mentioned, the SEC is very stacked with softball and baseball. So going against the number 3 team this early in the season, you got to see how they perform, having to last second put everything together.
Right, you are. The Arizona is going to be competing against those 2 schools actually this week, and they're going to be competing every single day until Sunday. So we wish them luck. Moving on to our next sport, we're going to be talking about Arizona women's basketball. We had student reporter Gabby Alvarado actually attend this last match against Oklahoma State University.
The Arizona women's basketball team continues their 6-game losing streak after losing to their conference opponent, the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. The Wildcats started off strong, establishing an early 5-point lead and scoring 14 points in the opening stretch, which would end up being Arizona's largest lead of the game. Unfortunately for Arizona, Oklahoma State was quick to establish their dominance. Going into the second quarter, the Cowgirls took control, outscoring Arizona 25-12 while also forcing 4 turnovers. After falling behind 46-30 at halftime, the Wildcats came back determined to regain their momentum. Arizona scored 19 points in the third quarter and finished with 38 points in the paint, but it still wasn't enough to close the gap. The early deficit proved too much to overcome. Arizona wasn't able to erase the 22-point lead Oklahoma State had built in the third quarter, ultimately falling 88-69. Despite the defense struggles, junior Samaya Supapong delivered a standout performance, scoring 25 points, which is her all-time scoring record. Her teammates, Nora Francois and Cameron Kitchen, also contributed, scoring 11 and 10 points respectively. Here's what Supapong had to say about her performance tonight.
They just kept going under stuff, so I just kept shooting it. But yeah, I just trying to take what they give me and staying aggressive throughout the whole game. Yeah.
Win or lose, the fans brought the energy to McHale. Head coach Becky Burke also highlighted the importance of Arizona's fan base to the program.
Let me be very, very clear. I want to thank every single fan that was in the building today for showing out and showing up for us. This is the only program in the country where we can be having a building season and we can be in, kind of the valley that we're in and still have a record crowd.
The loss on Sunday marks Arizona's 9th loss in Big 12 conference play, but the team hopes to break their losing streak when they face off against Kansas State on February 4th. This has been Gabby Alvarado reporting for UATV3.
With that last loss, Arizona is now 10-11 in regular play and 1-9 in conference. Trevor, I want to bring this conversation up to you. So Arizona was actually only down by 3 in the first quarter. It was 18-21, and they were up by 5 at one point. But coming out of that first quarter, Oklahoma State then went on a 12-0 losing streak, a 12-0 scoring streak. My question to you is, why do you think they struggled so hard coming out of that first quarter?
Well, I think that's something interesting you brought up, Jacob. Oklahoma going on that 12-point streak. That's not just Oklahoma going on a 12-point streak. It's also Arizona going on a 12-point losing streak defensively. Ultimately, this is a problem that we are seeing coming out of this basketball team is they can get very cold on defense, and it's turning into many situations when it rains, it pours. We've seen games such as this one where they even had a lead at one point. Sometimes we've seen games where they even had a larger lead than in this game, but ultimately when things start to fall apart a little bit, especially on defense, they kind of go cold, and it seems like this team is having a hard time of bearing down when it gets hard, which is a little ironic because you would assume that of all the teams, we might be the one who would be quite good at that. But that seems to be something they're struggling with. And, taking a bit of a step back from this game to look at more the season as a whole so far, we're now 1-9. I want to pitch it to you, Alex, and I want you to go ahead and tell me a little bit, what have you seen so far with this season, and how do you think it's going to result, and what should we do going forward?
Yeah, as you said, Trevor, I mean, defense is huge. I mean, across Big 12 play, we're averaging 75 points per game given up. You can't win basketball games giving up 75 points per game with such a weak offense that they are bringing in. I mean, we're 303rd in the country for most points allowed in a game out of 359 teams. That means out of all of Division I women's basketball, 56 teams let up more points than us, which
we're not that high up on that list.
Not good at all. We let up 80+ points in 5 different games. You can't win games if you're letting up 80 points, and with such a weak offense. Like we said, Michaela Purdue got injured. She broke her wrist, possibly could miss the full season. She hasn't played since January 6th versus BYU. She led the team with 17 points per game, and Arizona's just struggling to find the new successor to that. Samaya Sugapong has been stepping up. She's averaging 15 points per game since Mickey's absence, but that 2 points per game is a huge difference. She had 25 points against the in the loss against Oklahoma State, but it obviously just wasn't enough. Nalani Cornfield, she's been shooting a bunch of shots. She started the season as a big facilitator, averaging 10 assists a game, but now she's looking to be a scorer, and it's kind of clashing with Sugapong as who is the number one scorer. So I think they need to figure that out, and they need to stop people scoring to help them get some wins and get back on track. I mean, they're falling behind pace to beat last year.
Right, with Purdue's 17 points a game absence, it's really who's going to step up and take the role of this team. Sugapong, like you said, had a career high of 25 points in that loss, but it needs to be more evenly distributed. I mean, 100%.
I will say too, yeah. Jacob, you're bringing up, 25 points, a record, 17 points average, but as Alex was saying, it really doesn't matter if you're giving up such a large amount of points every game. I mean, with each player, there's 2 sides of the coin.
Right.
And honestly, it doesn't matter how impressive one side is if on the other side of the court, there's really little productivity at all.
And it's like this sample size that I'm referring to with the Oklahoma State, 3 of their players scored 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Each separate player. You know how many players scored 20 points on our team that game? Just 1. So we need a better job at facilitating this scoring against these Big 12 opponents, especially we're not a big team in terms of height.
No, not at all, no.
And you can't really put any blame specifically on any one facet of our game. It's definitely not coaching experience. We know what Becky Burke brings to her coaching pedigree when she came from Buffalo last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just get a word in, Jacob? Becky Burke took them to the NIT championship. Sure, it's not no March Madness Final Four or something like that, but that she took such a unique Buffalo team, you could say, to the NIT championship. And like you said, it's hard to find the blame. I mean, it's a whole new team. It's a building year. All these girls are transferring from lower D1 schools such as UC San Diego, New Orleans University, and only one player returned. The star player is injured. It's kind of hard to blame anyone, you know.
Well, I definitely hope that these stacked on losing, will prove themselves worthy. You know, they build a strong character in us, and we're going to see a brighter future coming up. So let's pray on that. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about men's tennis and their success. Welcome back to the starting lineup. Now, Arizona men's tennis. In our early season of 8 games, we are 5-3, and Arizona has been doing really well against ranked opponents. We beat Florida State University twice, and we beat Pepperdine once. This team is composed of our star player named Jay Friend. He may be your friend, but on the court, he is definitely not. He is singles ranked high in the nation's polling, and he is just dominant in those singles matchups. Now, Alex, you wanted to break down a little bit about their last play against University of San Diego.
Yeah, they recently fell short to University of San Diego, but I don't see this as a problem. They have a slightly easy schedule coming up. They're 18th in the country, and they don't take on any more ranked games. As you said, Jay Friend, the new ITA polls came out. Jay Friend was ranked 4th, and we also had 3 other people in the singles category in that top 100. And one of our doubles teams also made it to the top 100, ranking 73rd, Alejandro Arcila and Cole Stessely with a 3-0 record. So I think these guys, you know, they're on a roll. 5-3 doesn't really show how well they're actually playing and how high they're being ranked.
Trevor, what do you think about this team in terms of, we talked about them being so dominant in singles, but what about doubles?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Jacob. Just to begin with, this is a really incredible men's tennis team. We saw last year this team was able to win the Big 12 championship. However, yeah, doubles is one area where we could improve. That's not to say that our doubles is currently struggling by any means, but when you look at the amount of talent and the amount of production that talent is making on singles, it just brings the bar up even more. And I think that if we can bring doubles up to the level that our singles players are performing, this is a team that not only I think can win a back-to-back for Big 12, but go even further into the tournament. I thought the loss against University of San Diego was difficult, but ultimately that's a loss to number 10 team in the country. And I think losses like that are good for a team like this, as it shows us here's what the competition may look like at the end of the year as you start playing good teams. You learn a lot more getting a loss from a really good team than you do getting a win over a poor team, in my opinion.
So you're just saying that the losses are as impactful as they are the wins, taking away from that as a learning experience.
Yeah.
Just to go a little into their matchup against the school, University of San Diego, Jay Friend defeated his opponent in singles, and it looks like, you know, we did struggle in the pairings. Like you said, that is something that our team needs to work on. We had 3 matchups in doubles competition, and we were defeated in all of them. So moving forward to our next opponent, which is the University of California, San Diego. Alex, what do you think we can improve on heading into that matchup?
I mean, like you both said it very well, so I'm kind of piggybacking off you guys. The doubles category, I mean, you have such a good singles category with 4 players being ranked in the top 100. You kind of have to match that with doubles and kind of learn how to pair 2 players together and take down UCSD. I mean, as you said, we lost all 3 of our doubles matches against San Diego, which is not acceptable. You can't win if you lose all in doubles.
Right, or at least maybe winning 1 in the future.
Exactly.
That would put us in the right direction, but we definitely can come back from losing all 3 of them.
Exactly.
Right now, we're going to transition into something that we are all have been updated and passionate about, and that is the NBA trade deadline. That actually ends tomorrow, and today was a hectic day to say the least. You actually were sending me all the current ones, and you were shocked, and I was learning them from you, and you were telling me, kind of breaking them down. what was the first one that really shocked you today that was like the crucial big one that changed the scope of the landscape of the NBA?
I mean, the Luka saga just continues as the Wizards and Mavs had a big trade go through. The Wizards got Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, and D'Angelo Russell. And the Mavericks got Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, two first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks. I mean, you went from Luka and Kyrie taking them to the finals to AD, Kyrie, and Cooper Flag not even playing a single game together. And then now AD's gone. So, like, it kind of makes you wonder. It's like this team was in such a good position. They were in the finals, and a year later they just blow it all up. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yes, the injury-prone 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis does head to the Wizards. And I was a little shocked by this just because it wasn't apparent really going on. This was kind of a trade that was going on in the background. We were kind of learning about other ones that we covered last week that we were more likely expected to see. But this one just happened out of nowhere to me personally. And I was questioning this trade, like feeling that one side did better than the other. But I'm watching this Washington team. They have totally been abysmal the past few years, ever since the whole Bradley Beal departure. And now I feel like they're actually heading in a right direction and they're going to be competitive. I mean, we now have Trae Young and Anthony Davis together. At one point, we wanted to see Anthony Davis go to the Hawks to play with Trae Young, but Trae Young has then since been traded to the Wizards. So now we're actually going to see that pairing, but just in a different uniform. Other trades that happened today, I was actually surprised to see a Memphis player traded, but it wasn't Ja Morant like we expected last week. It was actually big man Jaren Jackson Jr. He headed to the Utah Jazz, and this one stood out to me a lot because the Jazz, they were in a rebuilding period, but now I can kind of see them moving in this competitive direction. Maybe not this season, but in the future to come. I mean, their team, he's 6'10", and he's the 4th tallest player. They have players like Walker Kessler, 7'2", Lauri Markkanen, he's above 7 foot, and they have Philip Polinsky, I can't pronounce his. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
yes,
he's 6'11". So Jaren Jackson Jr. at 6'10", he's the 4th tallest player on that team.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, Jacob, I mean, the Jazz are definitely on the come up. I mean, they have a lot of great talent like Keontae George and Ace Bailey, but I feel like it's too soon for the Jazz to go kind of into this full win era, you know what I mean? And I feel like they kind of overpaid. 3 first-round picks, a promising rookie in Walter Clayton Jr., and Kyle Anderson, who's been an excellent role player for them. I feel like that's just kind of a lot for just Jaren Jackson Jr., and especially where Jaren Jackson Jr. isn't making or breaking them like a top seed in the West.
Right. Trevor, I want to get your take on this, just see if it aligns with mine, but another trade that happened was the 76ers. They actually moved on from Jared McCain. He was a first-round draft pick just last season, and for them to just move on from him this quickly into his career for another first-round pick, basically just a 1-for-1 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, why do you think that would be such a pivotal move for each franchise so early into McCain's career?
Yeah, I think that's something that's really difficult for not just the team, but a lot of the fans as well. And it kind of speaks to a lot of stuff we see on trade days is where we get a little bit of a glimpse into what these organizations are planning, what their culture is. Are they trying to build something? Or are they trying to get quick success? I think they had a real opportunity to keep him there a while and kind of build with him and build something, but it seems like they want to be a little more aggressive this year. They want to have a little more quick success this year. And Alex, I'm curious for your input on that. How do you think that's working out? And outside of these two teams, did you see any teams at the trade deadline who were more aggressive than others?
Yeah, just to quickly back off what you're saying, I mean, it was definitely a surprising move to get rid of him that quickly, but you got to think the 76ers, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecomb's been on fire. They have a lot of guard play. I mean, Paul George, besides the fact that he's out on drug-related problems, but they have a lot of guard play, and they don't really need Jared McCain, so getting a free first-round pick for that from the Thunder, who have like 1,000, it was pretty good. But a team that was really aggressive, in my opinion, was the Cavs. The Cavs traded for James Harden, and they got rid of Darius Garland and a second-round pick. The Cavs have been kind of stuck in this like purgatory the last couple years where they're really good. They're always 1, 2, or 3 in the regular season, but lose in the first or second round. And I think they're going for James Harden as a secondary scoring option, kind of to Donovan Mitchell, and maybe like a playmaking option. But I just think, I don't know if James Harden will get the job done. We haven't seen James Harden get the job done anywhere. He's been surrounded by superstars his whole career. and it's never been enough. So I'm surprised to see how the Cavs system works with Donovan Mitchell being the main guy and James Harden kind of just getting added onto that team.
I took that Cavs move as kind of like a win now. Like, James Harden is 36 years old. He does have that contract situation for next year that they probably don't even want to address until they see what pans out from this season. Like you said, the Cavs have always been that team that do phenomenal in the regular season. They were actually competing against OKC last season for best record overall. It was that back and forth between the East and the West. But yeah, they seem to be one win away. And I'm curious to see what that backcourt looks like between Donovan Mitchell. He's not really ball dominant, but we know James Harden, he does very well with the ball. He's a give and go type of player, great from the three-pointer. But to be that age is not a factor for me. I would be lying to you guys. So that's my take on it. Personally, I feel like my Lakers haven't done that much. The only thing that I could see them maybe doing is how they're going to move forward with the whole LeBron-Luka situation. We've seen Luka rise into stardom, becoming very much committed to this team and kind of like having a vendetta against the Mavericks, having traded him in the way how it happened, and so publicly with them coming out against him. But LeBron has kind of taken a backseat role. He doesn't have to be the number one option, but then we've seen the rise of other players like Austin Reeves. So LeBron's value on the Lakers, not really the highest right now. I'm just curious to see what happens where he goes after this, because he does have a contract situation, and year 23, phenomenal. But is he worth $50 million?
Yeah, backpacking off what you said, Jacob, LeBron's contract expires this year. He'll be a free agent after this season, and I just don't see him going on for much longer. There's been a bunch of clips surfacing where he doesn't even run back on defense. He kind of just lets people blow by him. I mean, what do you expect from a 41-year-old? I mean, he should be on a beach enjoying some margaritas or something, relaxing, instead of doing all this. But, yeah, like his contract's coming to an end. And I think the Lakers are just ready to move on with Luka, Austin Reeves. Jake LaRava has been killing it. They have a bunch of hidden gems on that roster, and I think they want to hand the keys to Luka for good.
Right. Well, I'm just curious to see moving forward what's going to happen with the Cavs. Seems like they're making a lot of moves, getting and giving players, but also that whole Giannis situation. We still have until tomorrow. All these great trades have been happening, but that's the one that's still like on everyone's mind. Everyone's refreshing their phones to see if that one's going to pop up. So we'll have to wait and see. Guys, we need to talk about the Winter Olympics. I mean, I brought it up at the beginning of the show. It is starting this Friday. And curling, you brought up curling, yes. And you also brought up the biathlon. Well, this is going to be the 25th Winter Olympics. It's going to be in Milano, Italy.
Ooh.
And I'm actually looking forward to a lot of this. There's a lot of stories, a lot of professional athletes that have really come into stardom because of their young careers and how they propelled them into the starlight, as well as their dominance. Trevor, what are you looking forward to about the Olympics? Any sports, any athletes you're looking forward to?
I'm really excited for the Winter Olympics this year, Jacob. As we all know, obviously, when it comes to the Winter Olympics, the biggest country to look out for is going to be Norway. Historically, they have the most medals in pretty much across the board by a very wide gap. The United States does come in at second, so I'm curious to see how the U.S. is going to be able to try and cut that lead short. I'm also curious to see what other countries are going to start making a name for themselves in the winter sports. There's so many events to see, and I know everybody's also just as equally excited for the opening ceremonies and all of the pomp and circumstances of the Winter Olympics. I think that since the last one occurred, certainly there's been a little bit more tension among many countries in the world, so I think this is a really good time to have a Olympic Games where kind of the global scene can come together over a shared love of sports.
Right. We don't have enough time to get into all of that, but I do agree there's nothing like bringing people together. And that opening ceremony, when you get to walk in that parade, holding your flag, everyone in the world's watching you. There's no feeling that I can't even imagine, but I'm sure these are a moment that all these athletes have been waiting for their entire lives. Alex, I want to throw it to you. Any sort of players or people that you're following, sports?
I'm going to be honest with you, Jacob. You know, Olympics aren't my strong suit, but as Trevor said, I think this is a great opportunity for all these countries to show off their best talent. I mean, there's 4 years in between each Olympic, and everything changes each year. It's like there's a new competitor every year, new person bursting on the scene. I mean, 4 years ago, I was 14 in high school. I was in my freshman year of high school, and now I'm here. So, I mean, it's just such a big amount of time where all these new athletes can come up, and I'm really excited to see who's the next generation of Olympians that will put on a show in this Winter Showcase.
That's a great point. I mean, they're every 4 years. Gosh, think about where you were 14 years ago, 4 years ago. For me, I always kind of like to look for, that one storybook player you want to root for, one that like a feel-good story. And that kind of helps me, have more of an emotional connection to these games. And for me, when I was doing my research for this year's Olympics, I stumbled upon Michaela Schifrin. Now, she's an alpine skier. She's 31 years old, and she comes from Vail, Colorado, and she's one of the most decorated athletes in her sport. She competed in the last 3 Olympics, where she actually won 2 gold medals, but the last one in Beijing, out of 6 events that she was competing for, you know how many gold medals she won?
How many?
0.
Oh.
And this is actually the way I'm going with it, is these athletes, they go through a lot in their sport. And part of that is burnout. She actually talked very publicly about her mental health. She talked about basically, struggling to find the love for the sport again. In 2024, right before these Olympics, she actually had a skiing incident where she was impaled by one of the flags on her downhill course. And she explained it as being stabbed through the guts.
Wow.
It was very graphic, and for her to come back to this big center stage, I very much applaud it. She is a decorated athlete. She has 2 gold medals, but to come from the last Olympics and compete in 6 events and get none, this is, to me, like, I feel like she can do no wrong just like even being there. She's a symbol of strength. She's a symbol like of resilience. And this is like one of those people that I'm specifically looking out for just because of the heart of what essentially is a champion. Okay, so with that, we're gonna head to a brief commercial and we're gonna go and introduce our last segment.
I'll be right there.
Thanks, cameraman. You're my hero.
Welcome back, everyone. That is actually the end of this week's starting lineup. But before we go, let's give out some special shout outs to people that we are looking out in just the personal world, but also the world of sports. My shout out actually goes out to Shams Charania. He's an NBA insider for the NBA, and he basically breaks down all the trades that have been going on. So during this past, stint of all these transactions in the NBA, I'm sure he hasn't gotten any sleep, and his screen time is probably through the roof. So I appreciate you keeping all of us updated. Trade deadline ends tomorrow, so get some much needed rest. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, just to quickly backtrack to what you were saying, I saw a post. You had 20 hours of screen time yesterday. That's the whole day, basically. But my shout out goes to the McDonald's All-American nominees. Recently, the other day, 24 high schoolers from the men's and women's side were selected to play in the McDonald's All-American game. Even though, it's a huge honor, a lot of people were left off, and this is just the beginning for some of their careers. I mean, we've seen so many people succeed in the NBA and not even play in the All-Star game.
Wow, great take. Definitely shout out to them. What about you? How are we gonna end this off?
Well, I want to end it off by giving a very special shout out to the Seattle Seahawks this upcoming Sunday. They will be playing in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, a game that I hope very much they win. And I hope that they win very confidently and break all of the hearts of the Patriots fans who have suddenly returned to declare that they were always a fan and definitely were not watching for the past few seasons.
Patriots fans, including Kendall Jenner.
Fans.
So, well, with that, be sure to check out our YouTube and social media to stay update on everything Arizona, and be sure to tune in on Monday for our Wildcast episode for the week. I'm Jacob Aries. Thank you so much for watching with us. Have a great night, Wildcats, and remember, as always, to bear down.